Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to be sharing with you a brand new release from Sweet November Stamps. I'm just showing you a couple of the stamp sets that I had handy. So we had the Winter Wishes, Sugar and Spice, and then the super cute Cup of Cheer with Santa, Mrs. Claus, and these adorable little elves. And then the star of my video today, the Sweet Treat Express. We're going to be using this stamp set to build our own mini slimline card. And this video is part of a YouTube hop. So while I get these images stamped and ready to go, I'm going to go over kind of like a broad overview, and then all of the details for the hop will be down in the description below for you. So we are celebrating our new clear release today, and you have a chance to win the entire collection, which is 12 Christmas and winter stamp sets. To play along, all you have to do is visit each of the YouTube accounts listed in the description below, subscribe to each channel, and like their YouTube video. Then you just leave a comment on each one. There's going to be 8 videos, so I think it's enough that you get to see everything in action, but not so many that it's overwhelming. And you have 4 days to hop along with us. So this is going to run from Sunday, November 12th through Wednesday, November 15th. And then one randomly selected winner will be announced on Thursday, November 16th of 2023 around 5 p.m. Pacific time. So the winner is going to have a week to reply, and if they don't reach out to Sweet November, then another winner will be selected. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you are following Sweet November Stamps on Instagram as well, because they always post results over there. And there is an Instagram hop happening right now as well. So you have double the chances basically to win this entire set. And let me tell you, this is a good one. It was hard for me to pick what exactly I was going to use because the stamp sets are so stinking cute. I am a member of the Sweet November Stamps design team. Obviously, that's not new. If you've been here for a while, you know that. I do love them, and I try to feature them multiple times throughout the year, even when it's not a new release. I think that if you are somebody who likes scene building or the idea of learning how to scene build, that they make stamp sets that are absolutely perfect for that. So I stamped out 4 of the little parts of the train and the train track. And I just used a Copic multi-liner to connect the cars of my train together. I was just 2 little curved lines, so they kind of look like they're just linked or roped together. And then I used a Pink and Main slimline die. I will have that listed down in the description below for you, just in case you're looking for a good stitched slimline die set. So I'm starting out by doing all of the peppermint on my train. And so I found that it's easiest to lay in my white and gray shading on my white stripes just across the entire peppermint stick. And then I can go in and just add red where I need it, instead of trying to worry about staying in the lines for all of those stripes when it really literally makes no difference to do it this way. It's so much faster. So I'm going in with my dark, medium, and light red shades, R59, R29, and R27. And then I'm going to use cool grays for all of my gray/white shading, kind of flipping through between C3, C1, and C0. I'm going back in with the R59, 29, and 27 again for these spiral peppermint candies that are the wheels. And because this is so repetitive and this is already kind of a long video and you have 7 more videos to watch, I did kind of skip through some of these. So those first 2 wheels are there, and now magically all of the wheels are done. For these other 3 wheels that are kind of drawn differently, I decided to just kind of make them look like actual wheels. So I went with some deeper cool gray markers to shade those in and just kind of color them in almost like their target signs, with a bullseye kind of in the middle. I just wanted to keep these a little more simple. I didn't want them to pull a lot of attention. For the these center two cars, I'm going in with the same kind of color method where I'm taking my E57 and running that along the outside, blending that out with some E55, and then going in with my lightest shade right through the middle. So since those were very similar, we skipped over that second one. 57, 55, and 53 sometimes give a little bit of a weird gray cast when you're layering them. So if I could do this over again, I would probably maybe lean more towards my E30s. But I do like the way this turned out, and I had no actual regrets. Like, this is super cute. But if you have had that issue before and you don't love how the E50s blend, 30s would be my next choice. Just throwing that out there. So the front of the train was super easy to shade in, lots of really simple shapes there. The back of the train, I am shading kind of just in sections. I wanted the window frame and the bottom section to kind of be this gingerbread feel. And then I added a lot of shadow under the icing on that top section, and I'll just blend that out. I didn't shade in any of the waffle on the whole train until afterwards, because I'm going to make that lighter so that when we go in and add some depth to the actual like waffle indents, it looks more dramatic. I really like the contrast that gives. So I did do this coloring over 2 separate nights, just because I started this whole section. I did like all of the peppermints and the wheels, and then decided I was just too tired and I needed a break. So it was really exciting to come back to it the next day with fresh eyes and be like, oh yeah, no, this is like a really good start. And then I felt really confident when I started coloring the rest of it instead of trying to force it. So make sure that you're listening to your body and your brain. This is supposed to be fun. So here's where I brought in those lighter E53, E51, and E50 markers just over the whole part of the waffle. And then I'm going to leave that alone and move on and let that dry for a second so that when we bring back in those deeper shades in that waffle, it doesn't bleed. So I also brought in 59. I just figured to stick with 50s for a lot of this because once I had already kind of started that color tone, I just wanted to kind of keep everything looking really harmonious. And so using that same color family was a really good way to do that. So I went in with that 59 all the way across the train track and then on the left-hand side of each of the posts. And I'm just going to fill in the rest of that with that E57. Again, this is not meant to be the focus, so I didn't want to spend a ton of time on it. And I literally let that just run right off the edges of my card so that it looks nice and continuous, like we're just seeing one little slice of this train track. I went in with those same darker 50 colors to shade in the little gingerbread man. I wanted him to stand out against that lighter kind of like a waffle cone that he's going to be surrounded by. So 59, 57, and 55 for him, and then he'll get a little green gumdrop button at the end. I just left the white icing white for that. And then I'm going in with that E57 to shade in all those little waffle divots, just literally coloring in all the triangles and the diamonds, and we'll do that across all of those sections on the whole card. Super nice and quick. I wasn't quite sure what to do with that front section at first, but I decided to pop in a little more red. So using that same red trio for that section, and then I shaded my curved candy canes the same way that I shaded the straight ones, going in with those cool gray markers first, kind of shading the inside of that curve, then going in with my R59 just on those inner sections of the curve, then blending that out with the 29 and then 27 once again. I just love this card so much. It turned out way different than I thought it was. I didn't really have a plan for what I was going to do for the background while I was coloring all of this, but I just kind of went with my gut on this one instead of like trying to overthink it, which is what I usually do, and it really worked out this time. So I'm going in with some green just to kind of pop more of a traditional Christmas color scheme. So I'm giving some green gumdrops in this little candy car and coloring in the conductor's hat with the same greens. using that same green trio as well for half of the presents in the little present car. So we're going 29, G17, and then brightening things up just a little bit with the G14. I really like this color combination. I haven't used it before, but it just makes me happy. And then I wanted to pull that color through the rest of the train, so I also put it on the little mouse's scarf. Because I had every other package on here green, obviously I had to make the rest of them red. And then we'll go in with some YRs and Y markers to create some really nice golden bows. With all of the warm kind of gingerbread tones, I really like having the gold bows on here versus like a silver or even white. I think it really just helps to warm those up and make them pop against all of the white that's everywhere else with all of this icing and candy cane stripe. I didn't want to leave the ice cream cone on the front plain white, so I did add in just a little bit of a really soft cream shading there. And then all of my mice are going to be shaded the same with my warm gray markers. My darkest color is going to be my W5. Then we're going to go in with W3 just to kind of blend that out and add a little bit of shading to the inside of the ears so that when I put the pink on afterwards, it doesn't look super stark. Then I'll just blend all of that out and fill in the center of the faces and more of the ear with the W1, and then all of their ears and their little blush marks are going to all be done with the R20. I think that's a perfect amount of pink for the rest of this setting. They needed little dark noses, so that was the E49, I believe. And then I decided I wanted some mountains in the background for my card. And it's so funny because a couple other people on the design team, whether they hand drew them or used pattern paper, also did very similar mountains. And I promise I didn't see any of that before I started coloring this. We all just kind of must have this very like specific picturesque train scene in our minds, I guess. So I started laying out my my mountains with my B60, which is super light, easy to kind of edit if needed. And I'm literally just making triangles and I'm letting them kind of end right along those connectors for my train so that I don't have to worry about creating a horizon line. And on the ends, I just kind of let it fade away. So to add some shading and create more of a mountain versus just a triangle, I'm bringing in my BV23 and I'm just kind of making a squiggly line through, it's not really through the middle, it's off to the side, right? Like a quarter, maybe even less. And then you just make a jaggedy line and then fill in the rest of that space up to the edge of the mountain. And the thing is, you just want to make sure that you're putting that on the same side of all of the mountains. And then to soften that, I went over it with the B60 one more time so that it just kind of, softened the edge. I went back in with BV29 to add in a couple little pine trees here and there in the background. So kind of right in the middle and then one or two on each end just to kind of cap everything off and kind of make it feel more like there is a horizon line there. You just really can't see it because of the snow. And I get that there aren't snow-capped mountains in theory unless the whole thing is covered in snow and maybe the shadow we're seeing is just on the other side. But then I decided that looked a little flat. So I brought in just a touch of the BV25, just a little bit darker, and added some just random sketchy lines kind of across, blended that out with the 23 again, and this kind of gave more of that rocky texture that I was looking for. I didn't want to create a sky, so to kind of make sure that my mountains had a definite right side ending, I brought in a little bit of what was that? B63, I think. And it was just enough to kind of make sure that you see the actual edge of that mountain versus the white background. So then, of course, I had to add a ton of glitter to this to give some sparkle frosting to this whole thing. So I'm going in with Pink and Main's Ice Rink glitter, which is just a beautiful iridescent kind of clear white glitter. And I added that to all of the icing areas as well as the top of each of those wheels. Dusted that off. And then I'm going in with a red ink. This is the Amarina. I never say it right. This beautiful red ink from My Favorite Things. This has like been my go-to. And I stamped that a few times to make sure that it was nice and opaque up against those mountains. I grabbed a Honeybee Stamps paper pad and added this really fun green and red stripe. And then I would just pop this onto a slimline card base and it's all set. So thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I hope that you really enjoyed this. I hope that you will hop along for your chance to win all 12 stamps out of this brand new stamp set. And either way, I hope you will check out the Sweet November Stamps website to see the rest of the super cute sets that I didn't show at the beginning. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I hope that you have an amazing weekend, and as always, happy crafting.